Hi everyone, thank you for joining the class week 13. We already spent 12 weeks, so almost we spent 3 months and then just 1 month left. And even considering the Thanksgiving week, we only have 3 weeks. So I hope you enjoy the previous classes and those kinds of Photoshop, Illustrator, and layout design. And this week is the due by this end of this week. So you should provide the PowerPoint slides and InDesign slides. Those should be submitted by November 21st, Friday, midnight. So still, if you have any questions or concerns or anything, if there is what I can help, please let me know. And now I'm gonna start with our new module. That should be the last one, the Revit program. So let's do start. So now let's get started with the Revit. So Revit program is basically a software used to create 3D models and 2D drawings in a single coordinated environment. We didn't utilize the AutoCAD. Previously, I taught AutoCAD in my class, but at certain point for urban design track students, we've decided not to teach AutoCAD, but program-wise, they might need more kinds of this program as a Revit. So you will learn very basic tools and workflow of the Revit, so that you will learn how to open a project, place elements, adjust the views, and organize information onto drawing sheets. So there will be no prior experience needed. But what I need to confess is I know the AutoCAD, 3D Max, and Rhino, and other programs, and SketchUp, but Revit is something new to me. So this time I decide to rely on my colleagues' expertise. So I might want to share our homework description, but the video has been created by one of my kinds of colleague. She is a Jinxie, and she's an expertise in the Revit. So I learned a little bit from her, and then she's also happy to share her video. So instead of for me to understand everything and make a new video, I still believe it might be more beneficial mutually to you and myself to share her video given her agreement. So after sharing our kinds of the description, I will directly show her video. So don't be surprised. So at least the credit is based on her work. So I might wanna share her name again with the email as well. So anyway, you could see the slides will be I will upload the workflow. This is model for the last one. So it will be assigned today, tomorrow actually, November 17. And due is December 12th, almost a month. But like a photo, PowerPoint and InDesign, we only have the two assignment sets. So, but still it's something new. But the project is the same areas in our Austin road. So those are the program or data that we're gonna use. So CAD Maker. So I already shared, but I also emailed you. So you might wanna utilize this link, and Revit-wise, it's free for student version. So you should go to Autodesk, then you should click the Revit and download it. So if I show you, if you click that, this is Autodesk student version. You should select the product. This time you will need the Revit. So this is a plan, design, construct, and manage buildings with powerful tools. So you should select, and student-wise, you could use so select, and using your email, Tamu email, then you could get the program. So please download and install. So after that, basically for this class, as I said, this is a basic course and only very short kinds of the video and two assignments. For undergraduate students, they are already, I know we have a couple of the undergraduate students, and I already confirmed with each of you, and you already knew some of the Revit tool, and I already shared those videos with you for the studio work because simultaneously the studio needs Revit kinds of program for your input. But rest of our graduate students may not have any kinds of the certain requirement to use of using Revit at this semester. But next semester for site I think site planning course, I assume Dr. Yeah, Evis and Jachin probably teach that course. I'm not very sure, but at least what I heard is that they need Revit program for their site planning. So that's one of the requests from each instructor and program coordinator wise, so that we need the Revit program for this digital communication first class. So that's the reason we kind of created this new model. But basically, you will learn how a simple 3D model is created throughout the Revit program and how Revit automatically generates plan and 3D views and how those views are placed onto sheets and how scale, graphics, and text are adjusted to produce clear and readable drawings. So schedule-wise, I will share one video tomorrow so that is all based on the tutorial of the Revit interface, and you will also have one assignment to create the many views. So that's one assignment, and including the week 14, there is a one assignment, but I will upload the second video. I will have two videos only, but so that I will upload another video on week 14 with a second assignment incorporating week 15. Probably I will also upload a short video, but that is only messages and some of the deadline kinds of the reminder. But I will share those lab-based video two times on week 13 as a first and week 14 as a second. Of course, I can share that one with you at week 15, but it might be better for some of you want to do during the Thanksgiving holidays so that eventually uh, I might want to share that one at that time. So anyway, as a deliverables wise, you could submit just two work, two PDF file into Google Drive and two Revit file. That's the .rvt. Both are 11 by 17. So that first map is an urban-based map, including building footprint, transportation network, green space, and river. You can just follow the video and make a similarly, because when you utilize a CAD mapper, the size is not exactly the same, so slightly might be different, but those are understandable. And the second assignment is the 3D site view, including 3D detailed kinds of the rendering, key site elements labeled and titled, log, and scale. I might want to show the example. This is a first urban-based map. So technically, you will learn how to produce those kinds of the our convene. It's Austin or Congress Avenue areas, so that how to show those kinds of building and base map and just transportation line, building footprint and river and green space. So as you know, even Illustrator wise, we could mostly make every kinds of work, but this can allow you to make a 3D model very simply. So that's the reason we wanted to show how to make it. And the second assignment is a little bit detailed because this is requested by also the program wise. So you might want to make a certain building or housing. So that could be kinds of the stamp style by copying one or two into the other pasted. And then we might want to show add certain people and some of the cars. So this is another kinds of work. So those two are assignments so that we might want to show how to do. So please take a look these kinds of our module 4 description. Right after this, Jingxi, my colleague, best my friends, and she will introduce our tutorial of the Revit and even kinds of show the lab section on how to make these kinds of the drawing by using the CAD mapper. So enjoy the video and please email me if you have any questions so that basically I also know and now I learned those kinds of the Revit programs. So at least I or my student worker or even Jingxi can help respond to your questions if you have. So please enjoy the rest of the video.
Hey everyone, so today in this video, I'm going to walk you through how to complete a city urban planning scenario in Revit. So most of the time, when we do an urban plan, we need the surrounding context as much as possible. So things like buildings, streets, and roads. But of course, we will not spend our time to manually build every single model. That's why we need to use another website called CAD Mapper. We're gonna go there to download the city model we need, and then we're gonna uh, getting the base model import into Revit. Okay, so now you can go to Chrome or any server you're using and just type in CatMapper, and you're gonna see this website. And just go there and try it now. Since I already signed up my own account before, so I just straight get into here. But since you're new to this website, you may need to sign up your own account for free, and then you will see this workspace. Okay, so we're gonna use AutoCAD as our file type to download the 3D model. You may don't know what those are, so those are just different files type. And some of them you may get touch with in the future, and some are not. But you don't have to know all of them. Just know this is a way we can translate our project into the different applications. And so today I'm going to use AutoCAD, and you can go search the place where you want to download. Okay. Okay. So in this assignment, we will be working on the Congress Avenue area in Austin. So I want you guys to follow in Sasaki's urban planning framework for this place. You can go to their official website, so just type Sasaki and you're gonna see this their website. And just type the name, the Congress Avenue Urban Design. You're gonna see this project. Okay. So you will see the Congress Avenue, this area, the area will be our main workspace. Okay, so we're trying to create the model in this place. And I'm going to use this model to do some letter Photoshop rendering or the Illustrator Analyze diagram. Okay, so let's back to our camera and just type Congress Avenue to try to locate this. And this is a Congress Avenue. Okay, and CapMapper only lets you download a limited area for free. So we need to carefully select the square region. So the way you're going to create the square is just click one point on this map and click another point to generate this origin square. And you can move around the square if you want to adjust that. Okay. And right now you're still in the free file size. And we can click and drag those points to adjust the boundary. So I want to include as many as blocks and also include this cross river bridges. So I'm trying to make this square longer. I still have enough blocks. Then right now, I include all the information I need. And I will go back to this website to do some simple settings. So first, we're going to include the 3D buildings. I think in Texas, at least, those side screening is really flat, so we don't have to include the topography or the contours. But in your future project, if you want, you can also try this. But today, in this assignment, we only need to include the 3D buildings. And you're going to see the accolade height on those buildings. They have 3D, but not all the buildings will have the 3D data. So if not, you can set false height for them, and you can just go 12 meters, which is fine. And for the road geometry, make sure you select the mesh surfaces. And this one is um, most workable in the most helpful in the Revit. Okay, and you can keep the minor roads and the path and 0 because we will not go to that detail. And we only want to have the rough surrounding context. And you can go highways is 12 meters and the major roads is 8. Okay, and after that, you can just go to the create file. So you're gonna say this preview for your model on the right. So that's what you're gonna have once you import into Revit. You're gonna see all these buildings, the mesh surface for the roads and the rivers. Okay, and you can just go download and go to the folder you prepare for this assignments. I will highly recommend you put all the materials and your assignments in the same folder, so it's better for you to organize. So you can keep the name and scan mapper Austin, Texas, US. So once you download, you can extract this file. And once you get into this folder, you're going to see this cat mapper, Austin, Texas, USDXF file. That's what we going to import into Revit as our base model. And so you don't need to worry about if you never used AutoCAD before, which is fine. The file format is DXF, but we will actually be using AutoCAD for this file this semester. Okay. So the next step is we're gonna just open our Revit. It may take a little bit time to open, and once you open your Revit, you will see this workspace. And go to your left panel, you're gonna see you can create the new models or open up existing models and also create new families and open the existing families. So there are two important concepts, families and the model. What that means, so families are usually smaller components. For example, like furniture, like a bench, even some doors or trees or any custom objects you create. And families are parametric, which means you can easily change their size or type or material, even though they're already placed in your main model. So what is a model means? So the model means your project. It's a larger environment that holds everything together. So it's an actual Revit file where you build your entire project. Also, all the families you insert. Okay. So let's go to new to create our assignment Revit file and make sure you're choosing the Imperial multi-discipline as your template file. And then you're creating the new project and just click OK. And before we go to the next step, let's make sure we save this file into the folder you can find. Uh, just make sure you organize and save your file every like 15 or 30 minutes in case if your computer got crushed, you lost everything you already done. And just gonna go to the save icon or just use the Ctrl S shortcut to save your file. And go to the folder you already created for this assignment. And you can name it as assignment 1 or any name you can remember. And make sure the file of type is RBT. Okay? And you don't have to do any settings for the options. Okay, so once you save your file, let's start to work to create the 3D model. But before that, let's go to the left panel. So you can see there's like multiple different settings here, but don't worry because the main things as the urban planner we're gonna work with are just 3 types of view. So first, we're gonna go to the floor plan. So you can either choose the floor plan, architectural plan, or the floor plan set plan. Maybe just go this one. So just double click, and you can see right now you are in the side view. We can just close this one. Okay, so all those tabs open here will be the different views or different project you open. And right now we're on the side view. So this one is a 2D view. Okay, so in here you will see your site plan. In the 2D view, you can think of them just like the planning drawings you're used to, like your map, your layouts, or straight cross sections. So we're gonna work there to create our lines, our roads, our streets. And you can also adjust them or observe them in the 3D view, which is another type of view we're going to use often. So we can go to 3D views. Right now, this is the default settings for the color sheet view. You don't need to worry about that. You can go to your top to space and go to view. You can go to 3D view and let's just create another default 3D view. Okay. So right now, any components you create in this model, you can check them in the side view or the 3D view or any other type of view you created. Some of the time, you may also gonna use some elevation view. If you have some maybe sheet structure with components, you can observe more accurate by using the elevation view. So you can always go to that plus icon and click that, and you can see the east, north, south, west, different direction of the elevation view. Okay. But the side view and 3D view will be the view most. Okay, so the 3D view will give you a more direct and realistic sense of space. For example, like a city bird's view or a street perspective. Okay, so you can experience the urban environment more visually. And another thing is the sheet. For example, you may did like a presentation board or a poster before. So a sheet is where you can put everything together, 2D drawings or your 3D views, just like the final boards you prepare for presentation. Okay, so 2D, 3D view is the space where we create the model, and sheets are the place we input our product and present to our clients or other people. Okay, and in the 3D view, there are some default scope box here. So scope box will limit the visible boundary, and we don't need that for now. So you can just click that scope box and just delete. Just type the delete on your keyboard, and then they just disappear. Okay, so next step, let's go to architecture on top, okay, and go to the component, and I'm gonna click model in place, and let's search site as our filing category. Just click OK, and we can put a cat wrapper. Okay, and just click OK. And after that, you already get into model edit space, and let's go to insert. So all of this we're doing right now is for us to uh, make this cat file more organized in the future, okay, instead of just link it. So let's go to import cat, and let's go to find the DXF file. So if you see your folder is empty, it's because you didn't change the type, files of type. So let's change to DXF. And you're gonna see this cat mapper, Austin, Texas, US. Okay. Another thing is really important is make sure you're using meter as your import units. We don't know why, but multiple people try this and they find out only meter units can make sure your model scale keep accurate once they get into Revit. And change your positioning to auto center to center. Once you get into the firm for a real project, you may use different way to position your project to match with your other like architect or EP engineers. But in our assignment, we just work for ourselves. I guess we'll not have your teamwork. So just make sure you're using auto center to center way to position your model, okay, and just open. So after that, you already get your file into Revit, but you only see this just partial of the model, not like what you have um, you preview you see in the preview on the website. That's because in the side view, they also have some crop boundary default. There are just some default settings carried out from the template. So let's just finish model first, and just click that crop scope, and you can either drag the square to make the crop region larger, or you can just go to your left panel and let's just not crop your view. And then you will see your whole site. And like I said, you can check your models in the side view or 3D view. So let's go to 3D view. Now zoom out and you can see the model we just previewed in the website right now, already in the Revit. Okay, so let's save again in case we get lost or anything. Okay, and another things you should know is you can change the view settings for your models. Right now, you can only see all the lines. It's because we're using the wireframe as our display mod, and you can change to shaded. Now you can see all those solid blocks. And each view have their own display settings. So You can create a view template to assign to different the views to make sure that it looks in the display level, they look same. Or you can just set one by one. For example, side view, we're still using the wireframe display mode, so we can only see all the lines. Okay, I can also change to shade it or consistent colors. You can play with all those different settings. So let's go back to our 3D view. So based on our base model, there's a lot of things we can do. So we can use our base model to create the existing site analyze diagram, or we can take this as a reference to create our new design, the new roads, new blocks, new building, new streets, or new furnitures, new green elements like trees, park, even some like water feature. Okay, so before that, we can go to our site plan view. Okay, so you can still see this crop boundary lines here. And if you think this is a little bit distract you, you can just right click and you can hide in view by select these elements. But if you want to make this turn on again, you can just go to this show crop region to make this shows up again. But right now we don't need that. So right now all the buildings and the streets, the major roads, and even though uh, those river lines are combined together as a block, and we want to utilize those elements as much as possible. So what we want to do is we're going to separate those elements into different blocks, but we may still want them to go back to put together to show the whole context. So what I need you guys to do is you're going to click this model and you're going to edit in place, and we're going to draw a square line to end our reference line, so we can always match those elements together again based on those that square line and our reference boundary. So what you can do is you can go to create and you can create a model line. Okay, and just so here it is all the type of the line you can choose, and it's your your pen tool. Okay, and I will choose rectangle as my light tool, and I will just randomly put the first point on the left top corner, and I will do another one on the right bottom. Okay, so after that, you can just click finish mod. And some of the times you will get this reminder every few minutes and to make sure you save your works uh, uh, every like 10 or 15 minutes in case you lost anything. So save the project. And right now you can see this square line just carry on with your CAM member block all the time. So that will be our reference boundary. We'll want to match different elements. Okay, so just click this whole block and you can just go copy to clipboard and I'm gonna paste on the side and just finish. Okay, now we'll get into this block. So for this one, I only want to keep the building as my main components. I may do some adjustments for those building blocks, and that one can also be my building analyze diagram. So people know the building pattern, the building layout, serialization in this place. And I will just click this block and I will edit in place. And I will click this whole block again and I will go export because right now the building, the streets, and all those lines just combine together in the block, and I'm gonna export them and I will copy the elements I need outside of the block. Okay, so I will just click export. It may take a little bit time because there are a lot of different elements here, multiple lines, blocks, and you may get this reminder here, can keep elements joined, which is fine. You just click on join elements. Okay, and now we can see the buildings. When you click the buildings, you will not select um, other things instead of building itself. Okay, and you have those lines because you just export this block and the mesh surface disappear too, because once you export, Revit will only keep the real solid elements, which is the building blocks and those lines. Okay, so as I said, I only want to keep the building block and our reference boundary line. So I will just click the building and I will hold Control on the keyboard to end selection. So I will end those 4 lines, which is my boundary line. Okay, and I will go copy to clipboard again, and I will paste this elements. So right now you can see here we only include our buildings and the boundary lines. So it makes the you can emphasize the components you want. Okay, so I will delete this part because I don't need this anymore. And you can just type delete on the keyboard. Okay, and then you just finish mod. Okay, and another thing we want to do is some of the time we may change the building's layout or even the building's type. Like you may want to get rid of some of the lower level buildings or bad maintenance building, or you want to build more like multi-family building or single family house in the block. So you may need to get rid of the existing buildings to recreate the new buildings or the new elements here. So you can just click the building block again and go to edit in place. Okay, and you're gonna go create void forms. So we're gonna use this void forms to create a shape or a boundary which surround the place you want to get rid of these buildings. So I'm going to do void forms, void extrusion, and I will use line as my tool. Okay, so if you still remember the Sasaki planning framework, they did regeneration for this middle space. Okay, so those blocks. So I will just hide the buildings located in this area. So I will draw a square or just a boundary. It may not have to be a perfect square, just around the place you want to select. Okay. And after that, we can change the depth of the void forms to 200, so it will more obvious once you create that. And you can just click okay, and still you're gonna have this kind of keep elements joined and you can just unjoin elements. And let's go back to our 3D view because we need to extrude this void forms to make this higher than all those building blocks. Do the same thing underneath. Okay, and after that, you're gonna use cut to cut the um, geometry, the building, the solid blocks inside of this. You're gonna select those buildings first, and then select the extrusion, and then you see those buildings inside of that void just disappear. So you can always just click your model and edit in place again. And if you click your buildings, you can see your void extrusion. And you can just select that and delete, and then your building just show up again. Okay. And we want to get rid of those. So I just keep my void extrusion here. And I'll go back to my site plan to double check if there's anything goes wrong. And the next thing I'm going to do is, so right now we have the building elements by itself and it's really clean and it's clear and not messing with any other lines or streets. And we're going to do the same thing for our streets, but like I said, the mesh surfaces we got from the CAD mapper is not the real solid surface. So once we export, you will get nothing in the Revit, only just some lines. So we need to recreate those raw surface by ourselves. Okay, so I will just click this original block again, and I will copy them outside. And I will recreate some surface inside here. Okay, so I will edit in place. And what I'm going to do is I will not export the whole cap map block because I'm going to just redraw every streets by myself. So this one just my background reference. Once I finish all this row surface, street surface, I can just select that and just delete. And I will only get my the new surfaces I created and this reference boundary line. So since right now we are in the model in place family block. So the only way we can create the road surface is by create extrusion. Okay, so in fact there are multiple ways you can create your road surface outside of a family block or family model. But right now we still want to keep those existing situations as existing elements inside of the site family model. So we will only use extrusion as the way we create our surface. And we're going to use our line tool to create the surface. So the way you create a surface, just in fact, just create the boundary line. And then the closed boundary line, make sure you're doing the closed boundary line. There should be no gap on that shape. And by using that boundary line, the shape, it will create a surface itself. Okay, so I'm gonna start from one of this line, and since this is just a really rough existing model, so we don't have to trace all those streets boundary. We can just do a rough number for those main roads wise. So I will go from there, and I will do a long line till the ends of the side, and I can type enter. And after that, we can offset this line to the right side. And we can use this measure tool to get a rough number for this measure road wise. So right now you can see the width is 108 feet around. And you can just choose this line you just draw and go to offset. And the shortcut is OF. Okay. And then you can set up to numerical, and you can set up the offset just same as have before, and you just measure, let's do 108. So once you click this line, you see you can offset to left side or right side. So just make sure you're gonna offset to the right side. Okay, so you just click. Redo that. Make sure we have 0 inch here. Okay, so once you click that, you have that line offset to this side. So like I said, your shape have to be an enclosed boundary line. So let's use the line tool again to fill the gap between those two lines. And after that, make sure you set up the depths almost in like the depth of the road. You can do maybe it's 5 feet. It's just a rough number. Okay, and just finish edit model. So after that, you got this main road surface, and you can always go back to your 3D view to double check if the location is right, and if you want to adjust the depth of this. And we're gonna do the same thing for other minor roads. So for the minor roads, since there's a lot of minor roads here, so we're gonna use the same tool, but a little bit different way to create the minor roads. So we're still gonna go create extrusion, but I will create one minor road first, and then I will copy them and do some adjustments in each page. Okay, so I will just trace one side of the minor roads, and I will measure the width, so around 70. Okay, so I will do offset again at 70, and I will offset the line. Okay, and I will fill the gap between these two lines, and I will click OK. Right now I have these minor roads, and I will use copy to copy multiple one. Okay, so you can just select one of the corner and okay, and we will adjust each one. So you can double click this one and click the road here. You can drag this line to extend the road. Okay, you can do the same thing for each road. And also if you think this road is offset a little bit, you can also move them to align with the sides a little bit. You can use the smooth tool. A little bit tricky, so I will use this triangle to adjust the sides. Okay, and we'll use the same way to do this direction. there are some overlap, which is fine. Okay, so just copy them. And just okay, and we just finish mod, hit begin. And now we can get into this whole block and delete this cat mapper things because we only need this row. Okay. And another thing we can do is, so for us to better visualize the different level of those roads, we can assign different material for the different type of the roads. So for the major roads, if we click that one, and we can go to the left panel, and we can go to this material. You can just click this three dots icon here, okay, and you can select um, example. Let's just type road to see if there's any. If not, we can just type asphalt, okay, and I will right click my mouse and I will duplicate material and assets, and I will call it major road. And there is another kind of important concepts I hope you guys to know is, so you can see in the material settings, you have the graphic settings and appearance. So this is really important because for the graphics, which means it will set up the display colors or patterns when you're using the shade display mod or the consistent colors display mod. But for the appearance, you're gonna set up the things you set up there will shows up when you're using the realistic rendering mod. Okay, so for the major roads, I want it to be a darker color. So I'm gonna go like a darker gray. Okay, and you can use the pattern or not if you want. So I may just go a concrete pattern for this for now. And I will click OK. And I will apply. Let's click. So you'll see right now my major road changed to be a dark color. Okay, but if you're going to realistic display mod, it will show the texture and the appearance. Okay, so this is the different settings for your display. Okay, and then go back to our shaded because the realistic one for getting your models slower. And for the major roads, I will just select all of them by hold control. Okay, I will go material and I will duplicate the major roads one and I will name it. It's a minor road. And I will change the appearance to a much more lighter color. Okay, so apply and click OK. And then you will see now your um, minor roads change to a lighter gray, and it's really easier to see and compare with the major roads. Also, let's extend a little bit of this roads. Okay, so right now we have our building elements roads. We can also trace the water feature, which is the river here. So we're gonna use the same way to do that. We can just copy the whole block first. And let's just copy them outside. And then let's get into this mod. And we will go to create extrusion. And there's another really useful tool you can try is a pick line. So you can pick up the line based on existing elements or existing edge you have. So just click that one, and you can find if you go to hold your mouse on those lines, you can select them. So you don't need to redraw every lines, just pick up them. And also you can type tab. It will automatically to select the consistent lines for you. And this is just a rough model, so we can also just draw the edge of the river. Or you can still play with that pickup line tool to draw the. And also, you can use the spline command to draw the curved line. So that line will be more organic and smooth. And you can always switch your tools. Okay, just click OK. And you got this river surface. Okay, and you can just delete the whole block. And also you can assign a different material for this. We do have water or not. We do have a water. And we can just duplicate the skin and just type it river. And you can use the color you want. And also you can set up the transparency. And I'll apply and just click OK. And I don't really like this color, so I will just go back, set up a lighter color, better looking. Okay, so now we have the roads, buildings, the river water feature. The last elements I want you guys to create is the green space. So you can just copy from this block, just use seal and zero shortcut. I will encourage you guys to use shortcut as much as possible. It will bump up your speed when you're creating the models. Okay. And once we get there, just double click it into the model, and let's select the whole road first. And we're gonna use group. The shortcut is GP to create a group, and you can call it roads. The reason is because we want to delete them later. Right now, this is just a reference because all those green space just at the side of the roads. And after we create the green space, we will delete it, the roads itself. Okay. So I'm gonna use the same way create extrusion to create the green space. And I will use pick up line because we already have those roads, and we can just pick up the road side lines on each side. Okay, and we can offset those lines. We can just set up 10 feet. Or we can make it more off files because this is just representative for green space. So you don't have to be very accurate as long as you can see it. Okay, let's use lines to fix the gap. You can also just click select that short line and copy them because all the rows are all the green space right now we're doing the same wise. Let's make quicker, then you draw the line. Okay, and after that, click OK. And it says lines cannot intersect each other. So which means there are some lines they got intersect, and it already got highlighted. So if you zoom in, you can see there is an orange line. which means this line may got selected twice or it got intersect with other line. So I just delete that. It seems like there's no line overlap underneath. So maybe because it got intersect with part of the line, so maybe here. So let's use another command to have it get touch with, we call trim. So you can trim the lines got intersected. And you have to select the inside of those two lines if you want to trim the outside part. So I'll click these two lines. Okay, and right now if I click OK, it says there still have some intersected. Okay, so this side, you can see we got this intersected. So the same way trim, and also we can extend this line to extend to this side to fill the gap. Okay, so okay, and not have overlapping lines. So let's keep find the overlap line. So here, so let's delete this short line. Let's try to finish again. Okay, so you need to trim this two line. This will be a really common situation you're gonna have when you really work on your model. So every time if there got some errors, you cannot finish this command, you got this reminder on the right bottom corner, and it's super helpful. It will help you to find the wrong place you need to adjust. And also, I just found out there's a gap. Let's just use trim again to extend and trim as well. Okay, still have some place. Let's, okay. So you can find out all the problem is happened on the intersected corner. So let's just double check. Let's open on one end. You can click show. So after you click show, it will pop up and zoom in the aerospace. Okay, so we finally finished the mod, and now we have all those green space. And now we can just select our rows and just delete. And then we got all our green space. Then we can do the same thing. We can go to the material, and let's see if we have the brush texture. So we can use brush texture, and we just duplicate, and we can name it screen space. And still want the color to be lighter. Don't use very strong color, no matter in the mod or in your diagram. Apply, and I just click OK, and I got my green space. Okay, and now we can combine them together to create the organized space model. So what you can do is you can just copy the row first, use CO and your copy command, and just move around. And also copy this one because we want to keep the original version in case if we need to edit or back to end anything or delete something. Okay, so when you copy the building to match with the roads, make sure when you copy them, select one of the points, the corner of the reference boundary, and then make sure you put into the same place. Okay, just like that. And also do the same thing for your wrapper. Okay, the same thing for your green space. So after that, you got this clean map base model here. If you go back to your 3D view, you'll see your model moves up there. Very clean and all else, it helps you to know about the site. And also, there's another thing you can do because when you get into the 3D view, you will see there are some surface overlapped. So for the roads, which is fine, but for the river, it should be a little bit lower than the bridge in the real world. So what you can do is you can still get into this block and select the river surface. Now let's zoom in a little bit and hold your shift and your right mouse let's getting a closer look of the rubber so you will get better understand about um, the extrusion start and extrusion end, what that means. Okay, so right now we want this rubber surface lower than the bridge surface, which is this darker one. Okay, so what we can do is we can make the extrusion start lower. So we can change to, for example, negative 15 feet. So once I changed, if I click apply, you will see now the bottom surface getting lower, which is negative 15 feet. It used to be 0. Okay, so we get 15 feet lower than previous. But why the top surface didn't change is because we keep the extrusion end on the 5 feet. So that number doesn't mean the depth of your rubber surface. It means a level, the extrusion end level of your rubber surface. So what we can do is we can make that to negative 5. Okay, so right now you will see it get lower. Have the space between the river and the bridge. If you want it gets more opals, you can even change to feet. And you can easily calculate right now the river surface depth is 5 feet. Okay, and you just finish one. And you can also create the last floor surface on the bottom for your whole site. So you can go to one of the block and just add in place. It seems like we're getting into the green space. You can just go to create extrusion and you just trace a boundary line. Okay, and just click OK, and you have this bottom floor for your site. And what you can do is, if we go back to our 3D model, you can change your extrusion end number to make the not that deep. So I'll just do maybe 2 feet and make sure shows make sure my all my roads, my road space, the green space, the building shows up, not hidden by the bottom floor. But right now, I got my rubber area hidden. So what I can do is I can go edit my extrusion and I can end another line, which is the river line. Then I just cut that part out of my floor and shows the river on the bottom. And I can make my extrusion start place lower so there will have no gap between my river and the floor. And also let's change another material to make it lighter. I can just go to gravel and just duplicate one lemon base roller. And I will change to a really light, maybe gray brown. Okay. So after we end the bottom base floor, you may find out because we are using the lighter green for the minor roads. So right now the minor roads is not that obvious. So what you can do, you can always go back to your minor roads block and just double click and just select one of your minor road. Okay, and then you can go to the material. You can always go back there to change the material or the color, the appearance you want to use. So I'm gonna change to like a little bit darker gray. Now apply, click OK, and now it shows up and more opals. Okay, and you can just finish mod. And also, if you don't want to see all those boundary lines, because right now the boundary lines, some people may don't like that style. They may only want to see all those solid things. So what you can do, you can just right click, no, left click your display settings and go to graphic display options. And you can select this show edge setting. Just apply like that. All those lines will temporarily turn off. And before we put all those contents into the sheet, we can still do some like final display settings adjustments. Okay, so for example, I think this building are too dark. I can still get into the building block the same way we did before. So we can set up the category, the material. Okay, so let me just go a really simple concrete. And I will just duplicate material and I will name it as buildings. And I will not use render appearance, and I may just keep the color really, really light. And I will just click OK and apply, click OK, finish my mod. Okay. And also I think the green space can be more lighter. So maybe I will go darker green like that. Okay. And another thing is, in fact, you can do some settings in your 3D view, but right now, because we are in the default 3D view, they just didn't show up. So what you can do is you can just duplicate this 3D view and just duplicate with detailing. Well, let's finish our mod first. And we can just duplicate view, duplicate with detailing, and then you can see you have more settings below. Okay, and we can turn on our sound pass. And you can use specific location. And don't worry, right now it's getting super dark. You can always go there. And let's go to sound settings. And the reason it gets that dark is because right now it defaults set to Boston and at midnight, which is not right. So we can change to our place. So Austin, Texas. Click OK. And okay. And also we can go to the solar study. Okay. And we can change the time. And you can just switch this bar and select a time you think shows better on this side. And also you can change the sunlight intensity if you think that too light. Okay, just like that. Also you can change the shadow intensity. Okay, and you can type escape to finish your solar study. And let's make sure we see this. Okay, and we can rename it as a perspective. And also before we put into sheet, let's change the view scale because this is a really large space. And if we put into the real sheet size, it should be like different scale. So we can choose maybe the 1 inch equal to 100 feet. If it's still too large and can't not put in the sheet, we can always change the scale later. And let's go back to our side view. Let's just rearrange a little bit for all those things. Just select them and you just hold your mouse in the left one and move them around. Okay, and another thing we want to do before we put into sheet is we want to crop the view because this is only those content we're gonna put into our sheet. We don't want to put like everything. So you're gonna crop view, and right now you can see your and also turn on your crop region. You can see your crop region is here, but this is not what we want. So we can just move our crop region, and you can don't crop view first. Now let's go back there to crop the place we want. And we also need to back to our perspective view and crop the view first. Before that, let's go back to our site plan and let's just make this in the group to um, better to easier move around or copy. Now let's just copy one outside of the crop region. And let's back to a perspective view. Okay. Well, let's shift a little bit because we don't want to see any other things here. And I still feel the building is a little bit too dark, so I will keep double click, and back there I will just make the whole building white. Okay, sure. Okay, and then I will show the crop region. Okay, so for the perspective view, you will only see um, those area. And also let's turn off, because we can see this line here. It's a sun pass, and we don't want to show that in our perspective view. So you just click that and sun pass off. Turn. So let's go to our sheets. You can double click those sheets. It may have a default viewport, just like this. So you can just select that and delete and input your own viewport. So let's back to our first page. And you can rename it like A101. The name can be the urban planning. Okay. And then you can go up and go to find your perspective view. So you can see you have this square in front of your view tiles. And this one is blue and those two are white. So the reason is because if you already put your view into one sheet or multiple sheet, the square will change to blue. But if you're not, if this view didn't put into any sheets, it will just go as black. And right now you can hold your mouse, left mouse, and drag that view onto your sheet. Okay, you see the square, and you just put in your sheet like that. And it shows your view name and also the diagram number, the title number. And also you can see your sheet's name is urban planning. Okay. And I don't want to keep this frame line and also the title and this title number because this is not like a construction details diagram, and I won't show them for now. So what I can do is I just click that viewport and I just change to no title. Okay, and also after that, I can unselect crop region visible, and then that line just disappear. Okay, okay, so we can still move around. Let me move up a little bit because I need some space below to put the side plan. Um, and you can always click this viewport and change your view scale. If you think this perspective view is a little bit small, I can make larger, just change the scale and change larger. Okay, and then we're gonna put our side view, all those side plans. But first, let me turn on the crop view. Okay, so right now we can only see the content we want put into our sheet. And let's back to our sheet and still drag that side view on our sheet. So like I said, the scale may be still too large. We need to change. I want to maybe change to 1 inch equal 5 feet. Allow me to do that. Try another way. Let's do. So scale value will be we need to do some calculation here. So it used to be 1 inch equal 400 feet. So that's why the scale value is 4,800. So if we want to change to 1 inch equal 5 feet, you need to change this number to 6,000. And just apply and get it smaller. Okay. So this is really simple math. If you're still confused about scale value, you can just come to me and I can explain later. We can move into um, our sheet. Maybe we can make this much more smaller. So I'll change to 7,000. So now we can place them into view. And I want to double click into view and move a little bit the last block. And before we export this as a PDF, we can add the title for each of the diagram. You can go to annotate and you can go text and you can start typing your title. So this one can be maybe the overview of the And you can change the title size by select that title and go to edit type. And you can change the text size here. If you think that's still not big enough, you can change to 1/2 inch. So now it get bigger. And once you already decided where to put all those diagrams, you can use those pin tools to make sure they can not be moved around. Same thing for this. And now you can move around your title. It's a little bit too large. I went back to 1/4 inch. And I can copy this underneath. And rename them one by one. Okay, so right now we're already finished all the things that need to be done in assignment 1. And in Revit, the most common way to export a sheet is as PDF. So you just go to your file and go to export and create as PDF files. And here you can select the sheet you want to export, or you can select multiple sheets at the same time. And you can set up the paper size, and then you can export. And we can just use our sheet size. And you can change the location to the folder. I would just go to same folder I used before. And I'll keep my file name as assignment 1. Okay, and I'm gonna export. Okay, right now it seems like it already done. I will go to the folder to see already exported. So you can refresh your folder if you didn't see that. Well, let's open PDF to double check we got everything exported. And that's it.